Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, APW Sports signing in. I usually don't turn on my camera for things like this, but when the Bears over the past 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, make trades like this to acquire Jonah Jackson from the Los Angeles Rams and to acquire Joe Thuney from the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean,
Yes!
Chef Poles. Give it up to Chef Poles, because he is cooking with grease with these last two trades. Now, first, I'm going to get on Jonah Jackson. I did a short about it on Tuesday, but this is a guy who, you know, guys, I'm kind of biased toward my Ohio State Buckeye players, and he's a former Buckeye, Pro Bowler in 2021, excuse me. And on top of that, he's been one of the better interior offensive linemen in the league. The Rams gave him a permission to seek a trade, and the wish was granted. Now, he did have a bit of an injury history, especially in last year where he fractured his scapula in week 2, but he's still one of the more productive players that was kind of on the market, because he had seek permission for a trade from the Rams, and they granted it, and the Bears only had to give up a 6th round pick for a guy who, yeah, he's 28. He just turned 28. It's a little bit on the older side, but at this point, the Bears are at a position where they have to maximize Caleb Williams now before the big time potential contract kicks in, and I'll explain that with the Thuney trade later. But when it comes to Jonah Jackson, he's a guy who has some experience at center, so if the Bears need him to move to center, depending on what happens in free agency and down the line from the time of me recording this video, he can slide to center, even though I personally think he's been more productive and better as a guard, which the interior of the Bears offensive line, I think, was the weakest point in 2024, and the Bears just got it that much better by acquiring Jackson and Joe Thuney, who was one of the best guards that we have in the league. 4-time All-Pro, 2-time first team, 2-time second team, and a 2-time first team for the last 2 years. 4-time Super Bowl champion. I'm not going to lie, guys. I forgot he played for the Patriots with Tom Brady when they won the Super Bowl in 2018. I forgot he was on that team. I'm just going to be honest. I forgot he was on that team. So, and actually, he has 2 Super Bowls with the Patriots, 2016 and then 2018. Then he has 2022 and 2023 back-to-back with the Kansas City Chiefs. So we're talking about a guy that he's playing with Brady, he's playing with Mahomes. Then on top of that, you're talking about a guy who's been coached by Belichick and been coached by Andy Reid. So this is a guy who knows how to win, knows what it takes to win. 3-time Pro Bowler the last 3 years. This is a guy that knows what it takes to win. Then we're talking about, let me get back to Jonah Jackson, kind of all over the place, but Jonah Jackson is a guy who came from Ben Johnson and the Detroit Lions his first few years in his career. So he has some familiarity with what Ben Johnson likes to do, and Ben Johnson has familiarity with him, with where he's most talented at, where he can be a better player at. So that is a familiarity with the offensive system and the things that he can do with Caleb Williams. And Joe Thuney, he was moved to tackle during last season because the offensive line struggles with the Chiefs. But this is these are 2 massive gets for the Bears, because number one, you only give up a 4th round pick, next year to get Joe Thuney, even though he's 32 years old, and Jonah Jackson's 28, and they only gave up a 6th round pick in this draft to get him. These are 2 players that could change the course of where this Bears offense is going to go, because they're both excellent in pass protection. They both are very strong with the running game, which needs to improve for the Bears coming up in 2025. And then on top of that, Caleb Williams gets some much needed security in the interior of the offensive line. And I'll touch on a little bit of why a lot of people say these are two a bit older players, but you are at a position, especially with Johnson and especially with the things that can happen potentially with this Bears on the defensive side of the ball under Dennis Allen, is you have to maximize Caleb Williams' potential now. You have to get the best what you can now, especially with him being on his rookie deal before it kicks in for him to get a contract. You have to maximize what you can on this deal before he gets that contract. Because when he gets that contract, there's so much that's going to change within this Bears team. So I like that they're investing in the offensive line. This is something that the Bears generally just don't do, is invest in the offensive line. The games are won in the trenches. We've seen that in the Super Bowl. You win games by dominating in the trenches, offensive and defensive line. And that's where everything starts for an offense or defense. So if you can win the game in the trenches, then you pair him with Caleb Williams at quarterback, DeAndre Swift, and potentially what they could do else at running back, DJ Moore, Odunze, and we're not sure Keenan Allen coming back at receiver. You start with the interior of your line. You got Darnell Wright, who I think is potentially a very good right tackle. Braxton Jones, I still think is a big question mark. But you got two very good football players. One potential Hall of Famer in Joe Thuney. And Jonah Jackson is still a very good football player. And I'm a little bit biased to him because he is a former Ohio State Buckeye. So for these two moves, the Bears get an A+ in my book. These are two moves that can help this team going forward. These are two moves that I personally like, even though they're both older in their ages, 28 with Jackson and 32 with Thuney. You have to maximize everything that you can out of Caleb now while he's still on his rookie deal before things get expensive. I love these moves, even though you take on the next 2 years of Jonah Jackson's contract, you take on the $25 million that comes with John Thuney's contract, but I think their production and what they can do with this Bears offense is going to match with the money they're going to take on. So I love this. I love the investment in the offensive line that we don't see. And I love what this could potentially be, even though I think even with these two moves, there's still room and there's still moves to make within this offense. There's still moves to make within this defense. But are we off to a correct start? Absolutely. And I love where we're at. But that's all I have. Make sure you guys like the video, comment your thoughts below, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.